Three. Hey guys, it's David back here with another episode of the Cerebral Palsy and Fitness Podcast, and I'm here with Yanni, and she is actually an author of 4 coloring books. She's been honored by the United Nations, and she's done a lot of choreography before as well. So Yanni, welcome.
Hello.
Tell me a little bit about what was it like for you growing up with autism. You have autism, right?
Yes, I am autistic. Well, I didn't know that I was autistic when I was growing up, but I knew that I was different. I had a lot of, social challenges with communication. I always say this, art was my biggest form of communication. If I needed to communicate something and I couldn't do it verbally, I would draw a picture. That's what I spent most of my time doing. At a very young age, like I didn't really talk to people. I would just draw. I wouldn't speak to people even when spoken to. I had like sound sensitivities and um, food sensitivities, food aversion, touch aversion. But at the time, I didn't know what any of that was because I wasn't diagnosed until I was an adult. I was diagnosed about 6 years ago, I believe. I'm not good with timing of things that like I probably shouldn't like block out, but I'm not good with timing. So I believe it was about 5 or 6 years ago. My dad's not here right now to like confirm it for me, but it was about 5 or 6 years ago that I was diagnosed and knew why I've been different my entire life and why things were just a little bit more challenging for me.
That is awesome. And the one thing about us living in a community of disability is we don't let challenges or limitations like this stop us from achieving our goals. Like I read more about you, and I think you've been on several major television networks as well, right?
My students, yes, my choreography.
That is awesome. I think you said, I think I read the Maury Povich show, BET. That is incredible. How did
Thank
you
you.
how did you feel about being able to reach such a high level at such a young age?
I didn't at the time I didn't really I mean, I don't know how other people see me, so I don't like everybody considers like different levels of achievement. Um, like everybody sees them in different ways. Like for me, like even like things that people consider small, like I'm grateful that I'm able to do, but things like that, like it's big to other people, but it's not really big to me. But it was a good experience for my students. To be able to perform on national TV so many times. And I'm grateful that
Do you feel like in a way you're trying to break, I guess, that stigma and that also the trying to think of the word, it's in the back of my head here. Uh, okay, so basically like the stigma, you're trying to break that barrier of, hey, we can go further than this. So you're out there teaching choreography to so many students and teaching them that we're just as able as anybody else is. So you're out there doing your thing, and I really admire that. And also you said you've actually have started on, or you've accomplished 4 coloring books. So what is the main theme of those books?
the main theme of those books is to just show positive images of Black and brown girls because like growing up, and it's just recently that I've been seeing like more Black art and more positive images for young girls and even women, because women need positive images of self too. People think when you become an adult that you still don't need inspiration and you
Mhm.
still don't need things that motivate you, but when you actually do. So
Right.
I just wanted to give young girls positive images of self, and so that's what I did. And I'm actually re-releasing my coloring book that I put out in 2019 because people are asking for it.
Do, do you feel that women of color are underrepresented right now in a lot of jobs and a lot of I guess anything in terms of, the job market, like you said, dance, choreography, film, things like that. Do you think we still need to work on bringing more awareness towards it like you're doing now?
Absolutely. Like even like with social media, like with TikTok, a lot of white creators, they like if a black creator makes a dance challenge, a lot of white creators will take the dance challenge and post it and not credit the black creator. So that right there is just like an extension of what's always went on. So there are so many talented black women out there, but like the society that we live in, they would rather put the shine on a white person. So
Okay.
and I always say this, I always say that black women are the forgotten community within the autism community, because like of just the things that people say to me and the things that like people hear, like
Right.
when I first got my diagnosis, I really didn't tell anybody because I was embarrassed and because I was already like, bullied and teased. So I was like, well, damn, this is just gonna, um, you know, give people more reason to like say I'm weird and have negative things
Right.
to say. But to be clear now, I embrace it. If somebody has something negative to say, that's on them, that's their ignorance. Only thing I can do is try to educate them. But I've learned that you cannot educate everybody because some people are just ignorant and they already have what they want to think of you set in their mind. So there's definitely a stigma around autism, but then it's like, okay, well, I didn't know black girls could be autistic, or you don't look autistic. So there's just like so many like stereotypes and stigmas, and
Oh
like
boy.
it's unbelievable. And like I'm learning more and more every day of the stigmas and the stereotypes. And black women, I didn't know you guys were autistic. And because we're always like, instead of looking at like, oh well, there might be a disorder there, they always look at black women as, oh, she's just angry, and
Right.
oh, she's this and she's that. Like, we don't get the grace that the white people do. So it's just always like some type of anger issue when it comes to a black woman, instead of, okay, well, maybe there's something else going on. Because when I was like in the hospital and they brought the team in to do my evaluation, like even like some of the doctors, like they had little like smart remarks, and they were saying, it was like, oh, she's so angry. But I actually wasn't angry. I was just experiencing a lot of anxiety. And sometimes people who are anxious can come off as being irritable, just because we don't know how to handle the situation that's going on, or social interactions. They're hard for me. Like it's really hard for me to open up to people. Like I have to really know you. I have to really trust you to like tell you anything.
Right.
So but it always goes back to the angry black woman thing, and that just like really bothers me.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. It's like for anybody with a disability, they tend to either A, judge based off character, B, judge based off your disability, or C, just completely disregards you altogether and treats you like a little kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, it's it's a
And
shame, but
like
oh, go
everybody
ahead.
knows, like everybody knows like that I'm not like a mean person. I'm not like an angry person. Everybody knows that like I'm naturally happy. So like the whole angry black woman thing just really bothers me.
Yeah, it's something that's I feel like it's always been there, and we've been trying to work as a society to correct it, but I don't think we're doing it the right way, honestly. No. So what are some of did you face any challenges, I guess, trying to become a children's book author and a choreographer? What are some challenges that you faced during that time beforehand?
Um, I really didn't face any challenges with that. Everything that I did, like I was doing it because I love to do it and because art was a way for me to communicate. And like as far as like the TV appearances, the producers always reached out to me. So it was just like I feel like I didn't go through challenges because I wasn't really pursuing it. It kind of like came to me, which makes me think about what you're seeking is also seeking you. So I really didn't know that I was seeking it, but like for all of those like experiences, like the producers always reached out to me and I was just like, really, y'all want my students to come perform? But I didn't really face a lot of challenges. Like the most challenging thing was actually um my being autistic and having to interact with so many people and like speak with so many people, and then like the challenges were mine. They weren't like anybody telling me that I couldn't do something or anybody trying to hold me back. The challenges were mostly like internal struggles that I needed to overcome to to thrive.
That's awesome. It's we always have our own internal challenges and our struggles to overcome, and as long as we're strong enough and positive enough to overcome them, that's what matters. At the end of the day, it's about us wanting to succeed.
Yeah.
Um, and tell me a little bit about being honored for the United Nations. I was taken aback by that. How did you?
Well, I don't know, it was kind of weird. Like I think they knew about me because I was honored in Westchester County. I was given a proclamation in my own day. Um, April 26th, I believe, is Ayanna Davis Day in Westchester County, New York. So
Wow.
I believe that's how the United Nations like heard about me. And we had like a ceremony and they gave me an award, and I don't even know where it is. I feel kind of bad, but it was like years ago. But I was very grateful and very honored, and I kind of was like, well, why me? But it was a good experience. I was like a little bit like, I'm not a shy person, but I don't like to like speak about myself. Like it's hard for me to like be in public and talk about myself. Even like when like I'm speaking to people, like in the beginning, I like when like the host reads the bio, because when they're like, tell me a little bit about yourself, I don't know where to start and I kind of don't know what to say. But so that was like the most challenging part about that, is when they're like, oh, so say a few words about yourself to us, which I kind of really didn't do. I just told them how grateful I was, and thanked them for honoring me. So it was great. And my students actually performed at the ceremony.
That is awesome. And that's why, as a podcaster, it's always important to look at your show notes. So that way, if we have a guest like yourself, we can back you up. Yeah, yeah, it's so wonderful to hear something like that, and to accomplish something like that, you're definitely making some huge waves. You're showing the world that uh because you're autistic, or because you're black, it doesn't make you any different. You're human at the end of the day, you know
Yeah.
and you've accomplished so many goals. So what are some of your long-term goals? What do you want to take, I guess, yourself in the next maybe 2 to 3 years?
In the next 2 to 3 years. Well, my first goal is to try to get my health under control because I'm having some challenges. Nothing I haven't been through before, but it's just a little more intense right now. So that's like what's most important to me. And I just want to continue to try to educate people more about autism, take the stigma off of autism, remind the world that Black women are autistic, remind the world that autism does not end when you're 18. So like those are some of my goals. Like I have like a lot of creative arts things that I want to do, but I haven't set like a anything like, okay, I want to do exactly this. But I know that there are more things that I want to do with art. So but my main goal is to just continue to keep educating people, continue to try to break the stigma, like because I saw an interview and I didn't even watch the whole thing because it was so horrible. But there was a mom talking about her autistic kids. And I'm sure she's an amazing mom, but like all the things that she was saying is like the narrative that is pushed all the time with autism. And it was so wrong. And like her kids aren't old enough to speak yet. So she just seemed like she was very misguided and she just might be getting her information from the wrong sources, because there are a lot of autism organizations that push the same narrative that say that like all autistic people are like savants and geniuses, and all autistic people are not, and it just makes it harder for like the people who are not like a savant or who are not a genius that are autistic, like they see this narrative being pushed and they're like, okay, well, I'm not a genius. So like it just makes it more challenging for the people who are not those things and the narrative
Right.
that is always pushed. So those are my goals, to just continue to keep trying and doing my best to educate and break some of the stigma.
And what would you tell your younger self right now that's that's still struggling with accepting themselves and just trying to get through life?
I would tell my younger self to keep going, never give up, and that even a bad day only has 24 hours.
Hey, I love that. I love that. So where would your I guess where would my listeners find you? Where can they contact you? Where can they find your work?
I'm phenomenally autistic across all social media platforms, phenomenally autistic on Instagram, phenomenally autistic on Twitter, phenomenally autistic on TikTok, phenomenally autistic on YouTube. So if I have a profile somewhere, I'm phenomenally autistic. And I believe, yeah, I do have a Facebook, phenomenally autistic.
Yeah,
It
no,
has like,
I'll definitely link all that information underneath the description of our episode. So it's funny because you mentioned phenomenal, and we've had a phenomenal conversation here today. It's been awesome.
thank you.
I've really enjoyed learning about you, and I hope and I wish for the best for you. And
Thank you so
I
much.
see big things in the future for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out this episode on iTunes, Spotify, um, you can check it. You can also check it out on iHeartRadio and every other major podcasting outlet out there. And what I usually do at the end of every episode is I typically say, if I can do it, so can you. But since we're here together, I feel like it's fitting that we say, if we can accomplish our goals, so can you. All right, you guys. Thank you very much. And I will see you again soon.